Hi all, my name is Jonathan McKnight. I am the Director of Operations for Momentum 360, and I'm here today to talk to you about CloudPano, one of the greatest virtual tour softwares available today. I'm here to give my review of the software itself and to show how I made a small tour at a local park near me using 6 different methods of shooting on 4 different cameras. Just to showcase the fact that you can make CloudPano virtual tours on everything from a Pro 2 to a cell phone and everything in between. Of course, I relied very heavily on the Ricoh Theta brand in this particular, the Z1, to get the majority of the panoramic images and the 360 video. I'm really excited to be able to share with you guys the amazing things that CloudPano can do, and ultimately how you, either as a company or an individual photographer, will be able to take this software and scale it to meet the needs of your customers. Way to get exposure is to pick a local place to build a tour that's going to bring people in that doesn't already have a listing on Google Street View. I picked this local park near me that has a really touching and lovely war memorial here that I don't feel like a lot of people know about, so it was a good place to make a virtual tour, called Chief Running Deer Trail out here by me in Bucks County. It has some really cool features, including a lot of the stonework here and a lot of other interesting little bits and pieces to it that really make it a unique spot. For this tour, I relied heavily on the Ricoh Theta Z1 and figured out what places I was going to use to capture. Now, using the app is ridiculously simple. You just set it up. You have a live view, which is kind of difficult to tell from this shot, but this is a live view. You just press the trigger, it'll synthesize on the phone. It really only takes a few seconds, and then boom, you're ready for the next one and can move on to your next shot. This is really critical to be able to move quickly and cover a lot of ground. What's really great about shooting inside the Ricoh Theta app is that you're able to go back and look at the images that you took so that you can verify if it matches your standards, if there are no people in the way, if there is enough of the subject that you wanted to cover, and it really gives you an opportunity to take a live look like this at exactly what you just caught, and it really is a convenient tool. Next, just moving it on to different spots along the trail to help create a path, if you will, to move things along. You can also rely on great features like drones. They are amazing ways to get out there and take ground panos. We're going to see how long it takes to add $500 in value to this tour really quick. We're going to speed up some of this footage here, but you're going to be able to see how quick and how easy you can use any DJI brand drone to take an automatic aerial 360 panoramic shot of your scene so that you can maximize the value of these tours. Now, no matter who you're really selling to, an aerial panoramic is a fantastic way. You can see here, you just open up the menu, go to Pano, sphere option right there. You set that up, hit the start button, and it'll do the rest for you, including stitching. And the DJI app does a phenomenal job at stitching. A lot of clients and customers are going to want this aerial panoramic view. It helps contextualize the location of the tour itself and really helps sell value. It helps sort of really prove the point that these virtual tours are for getting your space and your company out and on display to where you need it to be. And what you'll see here in a second is that it only took us 3 minutes and 16 seconds to add $500 in value onto this tour. The Google Street app is a phenomenal way. You can use the camera button on the bottom and take a photo sphere. As we see here, I would suggest getting comfortable with this app for a few reasons. Number one, this is a great way to get started becoming a Google trusted photographer, which is a great brand to have when you are dealing with the virtual tour space. It is sort of the go-to. This Street app allows you to create fairly decent quality panoramic images using only your cell phone. This app is available on a wide variety of platforms, from Apple to Android. You can really get this anywhere and really use it to get started and help drive value in the CloudPano app. One thing that I love about the Google Street app is that when you are done with the pano, it will actually stitch it together for you, so you don't need to do too much post-production. Again, this is really for when you're starting out. You can use your cell phone, quick and easy. You don't need any special software. This is all for free, and you could get started right away doing two things: one, making panos, and two, using your Google Street View CRAD. Now, the last thing we have here is the Matterport Pro 2. A lot of people say, I've invested in this software, I've invested in this platform, how can I possibly use it with CloudPano? Well, the reality is you can use any Matterport scan and convert it into a CloudPano tour. Here, I've obviously opened up the Matterport Capture app. I'm just doing a regular 3D scan. I'm out here, I'm in the woods, I'm on this trail in the open, and I'm gonna successfully capture this here and show you just how easy it is to be able to pull this out and to be able to utilize this in really any way. And the point here is to show how you can take older tours and you can convert them into CloudPano and save yourself an immense amount of headache and immense amount of money in hosting on the Matterport platform. All right, we're going to start by talking about how to pull the panoramic images off a Ricoh Theta Z1 and how easy that is. We're also going to talk a little bit later on how to pull the panoramic images out of a Matterport tour so that you can convert those into CloudPano tours. So let's go ahead and start. I've already connected my Ricoh Theta Z1 right into my computer. We're just going to go ahead and open that up. And right now we're just going to be working with the JPEG images that we took earlier. The reason why I'm not using the RAW files is because there are a lot of different theories and practices that you can use to really do a lot of post-production into your tours. However, I find, and a lot of people find, that for really quick tours like this one, often the Z1 has very much acceptable output for what we need. The 360 video that we took, you'll see, is right here. I pulled that in earlier, did a little bit of post-production just to get it to the right size for us. But as we can see, those are already keyed in, ready to go on the computer, and they look fantastic. Now we're going to head on over to Matterport, and we are going to pull the panoramic images out of a Matterport tour. This is from where the trail was, so you're going to pull up the Matterport tour. You're going to get right into it, right into Edit, and on the right, Photos, top right, Pano. That'll switch it into panoramic mode, and on the bottom there's the icon with the camera. You're going to click that. It's going to generate the pano, and on the bottom right you'll see it's saving photo. We're then going to view, and then we're just going to go ahead and download that right away. So we're now able to take that file, pull that out from our downloads, and get that right into the Matterport Pro 2 stills. And there it is. So just to recap the assets that we are going to be loading into our tour, we have the 360 video, which I gathered earlier. We have the cell phone pano of the parking lot. We also have the cell phone stills, both of the turtle and the memorial plaque. We have the drone panoramic that we're going to use as our overhead. We have the stills pulled from the Matterport Pro 2 just to show that you can and how easy it is to convert Matterport tours into CloudPano tours. And lastly, the trusty and ever faithful Ricoh Theta Z1 that we're going to be used to making the bulk of this tour. So we are going to get into building your very first CloudPano tour. First, you're going to go to cloudpano.com. Of course, if you're logged in, you have a Pro Plus account, which we will be talking about here in a little bit. You'll be able to Go to cloudpano.com. It'll bring you right to this space so you can jump right in, waste no time. You're going to go to create a new tour. We're going to call this the trail tour. And we're going to keep on keeping on. Select different scenes. First one we're going to choose from is, of course, the file we've been working out of. So let's do the very first thing. Let's import our drone pano. This is the top-down view and one of the easiest ways to get orientated properly in the tour. We can see we already have some really great output here already coming together as a super solid tour. We're going to go ahead and add more scenes here. Remember, you're only able to upload 50 megabytes max, but fortunately that is rarely, if ever, an issue. We're going to go ahead and open all of these as well. They will import in the background as we see right here while we look over this gorgeous drone panoramic. We can see all the different angles that we are going to take. Now that the icon has stopped moving around, we can go ahead and review these assets. But before we do that, we're going to add the last few pieces. That would be, of course, the cell phone panoramic image that we took of the parking lot. We're also going to be adding the Matterport panoramic that we took using the Pro 2. And lastly, we will be taking the 360 video, which is probably one of my favorite aspects of this tour for sure. And as you see, that's going to take a little bit longer to load in. So meanwhile, let's start and organize some of our workspace here and sort of get going. This, I can tell, is from the Matterport Pro 2, so we're going to label it as such. And this is also the end of trail, or at least the end of our tour here on the trail. The parking lot looks pretty good, no problems here. This was taken on the Google Street app. Some minor stitching errors we can see right here, but ultimately this is a pretty good panoramic for having just used a cell phone. Let's keep on moving here. This is, of course, the War Memorial. We will label as such. Next up we have, this is the picnic table, so we'll call this the table. This is really nice here. Again, this is with the Z1. We're just going to call this the head of trail, or start of trail. And this right here we will call trail entrance. It's really important to organize and name your panos before you start building them. The reason being is that it can be easy to become disorientated when you're actually building these panos out, and so you want to name them so you know what they are, so you can start and move through the production of the tour very quickly without many hiccups. So one thing I like to do is I like to organize the best I can. So we're obviously going to start on the parking lot. We're then going to come to this space right here, which would be the trail entrance. After that, we want to see the War Memorial in that same space. Next would be the table. Then would be the start of the trail. Then we have the Pro 2, which was taken further in. That'll be the end of the trail. The 360 video and the drone pano we can leave at the very top. So let's go ahead and get started with some of these assets and start plugging them in. So you're going to link hotspot. You'll then click a spot on the tour. So we're going to do one right here. We'll link the parking lot. and we'll use a globe right there. Really nice, really simple. Save that right there, and we can move that around. We can also edit these and change the scale down. This will change the depth of field that you can use to create some panoramics that are bigger, some are larger in terms of their sphere, which really show that off. Of course, you have the ability to create custom icons that you can make in Photoshop. There's also a massive library that you can pull from. Again, CloudPano's wonderful and terrific community of users. We're going to go ahead and save that hotspot here down at the very bottom. Link another hotspot. This is going to be the War Memorial right here. We're going to use a different icon to indicate this, and we're actually going to change and rotate that to help sort of give a really exact idea of where that is, because otherwise it might get kind of lost in the trees. We're going to make that a hard 90 degrees. We can see on the far right here. Save that hotspot and pull that over, make it a little easier to find where it is. We're also just going to change this title here. That can stay like it is for now, not a problem. Okay, so pull that out. There we go. See, nice and easy. So now we have the War Memorial, the parking lot, and let's go ahead and do one more. We're going to link the table space right here, just because that is sort of the head of the trail. We're going to make it a little larger, bring that out to 1.3 to help elicit that depth of field to make things feel like they're closer than others. We're just going to go ahead and save that. Now let's head on down into the parking lot and sort of build our tour from there. Now that we've done quite a bit from the sky, head right into the parking lot. First thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to pull this out by zooming out a little bit, and then what we're going to do is we're going to set the initial view down here. So now when people first come into this panoramic, this is the view that they'll be set with, which is pretty much exactly what we want. We're going to link a couple different hotspots here. We're going to link one right there, which of course is going to be the War Memorial. We'll keep with that corner right there, and we're going to want to turn things and rotate it to 90 degrees to again point out where it is. We're going to go ahead and save that hotspot, bring it in closer a little bit. Then above that, even though it's not the literal point in the sky where the drone was, it's always a good idea to separate that out. We're going to make this a lot larger so that it's real easy for people to see and discern the drone panel. We're going to save that right there, not a problem. And then we know that the start of the trail is down over here, so we're just going to link that hotspot and come back this way. Now that we have this in mind, this is a really great opportunity to talk about this tool down here, which saves a tremendous amount of time. This is enabling automatic link back generation. What that basically does is when I save this panoramic image, it's automatically going to create a hotspot in this pano that leads from this parking lot one that I'm in right now. So just to give an example of what that looks like, I'm going to go ahead and save this hotspot, travel on over to this one, and we can see that in the tour the parking lot has already been created. Now it's just in the wrong spot, which is fine. We can just go ahead, move this over, it's a non-issue, and get it to the right spot where we need it to be, edit it up, increase the scale a little bit. So much easier than having to go back and doing that again. We're going to save that hotspot. We're going to come back, do the War Memorial, but because we can see the War Memorial pretty clearly, we don't need an arrow. We're actually just going to do a bubble. Leave that right there, save that hotspot. And then of course, up top here, the lovely, lovely drone panoramic. We're going to stick that right where it needs to be, high in the sky. And we're going to make that a lot larger, and we're actually going to use the black chevron right here. Let's see what else they have in the library, actually. Search it. So you can just go, for example, and search. There was, oh, that's because I'm searching in mine. If you search drone in the community, drone map, logos. There were some in here, but that's okay. we're just going to use the standard ones for now. The black version right here, not a problem. Drone pano, super easy. Now we're just going to keep on going down the tour, link hotspot down here. This is the table space. Go ahead, set that up, save that hotspot. Now we're going to head back down to the table and we'll notice, oh yeah, as always, it saved that link if we, there it is, trail entrance. So we can just easy move this over. It'll do it for us automatically. Don't need to worry about it. That is if we have automatic link back generation enabled, which we do. Now that we're kind of further away, we're not going to put the drone panoramic in the sky. We're not going to put the parking lot in the sky because we're progressed further down the way of the tour. But we are going to connect a few different assets here. First one we're going to link is the 360 video. This is one of my favorite assets to embed into a CloudPano tour. They just look really cool. They're really great, and they are loved by pretty much anybody who uses them. So we're going to go ahead and save that as a feature right there. And also we're going to link to the very head of the trail here, where we have the start of the trail. Save that. So first what we're going to do is check out this 360 video because it's just really great. It loads it up automatically. All of the same features that you would have with CloudPano, including setting the initial view, which we're going to do right here. I took a lower render of the video just to make it easier to fit in the tour, easier for me to work with. But as you'll see, it automatically loops through and plays through. If you turn this on, those link to this tour will be in the description below. If you turn this on, you'll actually hear that lovely stream, which is really hard to beat. And of course, as we come back around here, we can see where the rest of the trail is, so we can link the hotspot to the trail entrance. And we can actually edit that out however we'd like, increase the scale, save that hotspot, non-issue. Let's come back over here, just because people might want to become more orientated. We'll put the drone panoramic right here. Drone pano. Open that up. Save that hotspot. And again, set that initial view. Usually you want to have another spot in the tour in view when you set its position. That way it's easier for people to figure out how exactly they get around. And of course for this pano, we're also going to want to set the initial views. Set initial view. So that's a 360 video. Loving that. Let's head on over to the start of the trail. We're going to want to rotate this again. Set initial view. This is to the table, so that's really easy. We're going to come back around, drag that around. Edit this to the sphere. We're going to increase that scale a little bit. Save that hotspot, bring that over. Next, we're going to add that 360 pano, or excuse me, the 360 video again. One of my favorite assets that's always a crowd pleaser. A 360 video is a really quick way of taking a $500 virtual tour and turning it into a $1,000 virtual tour. And drone is a really great way of taking a $1,000 virtual tour and turning it into a $1,500 virtual tour. The very last we're going to enter is the Matterport Pro 2 panoramic. I know that's right, you can use a Pro 2 to manufacture CloudPano tours. It really is great. You can just see sort of the difference. Really quick on the Pro 2, it always shoots in automatic mode, so there's no way to get a RAW file out. Obviously, it's got a pretty wide nadir, which we can talk about here in a moment, but it is a really definitive way to move your operations from the Matterport ecosystem into the CloudPano ecosystem, which is the ideal ecosystem to be working in. So don't feel like, even though you just bought a Pro 2, that you are stuck with Matterport, because you are certainly not. So we're just going to go through and do a really quick quality check of the tour. Again, as a quick example, the War Memorial, let's check that out. Oh, I don't think we set this up. We're going to set the initial view here. We're going to take our trail entrance. We're going to move it up. Change that icon. And we're also going to add into this pano the drone shot and the sky. Make that kind of large. Save that, no problem. So we'll start back up at the very top. Everything looks good. Drone pano. That, of course, is the parking lot. 360 video we're going to bring down over here. So that 360 video was taken right over there. We're going to go ahead and edit that out. Make it a sphere. Awesome. War Memorial. Let's head to the table. Looks great. Everything's in order. 360 video. Outstanding. Able to see that video. Can head right to the drone panel right there. If we turn around, we can go right back to the trail entrance. Pull that out. Everything's looking great. Everything's looking good. Let's head down to the table. 360 video. Just check that out. Everything's looking great. Head to the start of the trail. Looking great again. And to the very end, the Pro 2 finally set that initial view, and we're good to go. Now, we have a couple more assets that we're actually able to add into this tour that we're going to talk about right now. First, the most important asset, I would say, would be still images. So it's kind of hard to see what this sign says. It's really important. It's honoring our veterans, and so it's really important to give this the kind of attention that it deserves. What we're able to do is upload a custom image, and we can go right into our existing files. I just took this with a cell phone, so we can pull that in. And that'll come right up, not a problem. And we're going to call this the I'll save that up. That way we're able to see exactly what it says in the tour, and so you're able to call out those little features as you see them. Now, there are some really important aspects of CloudPano that I want to jump into before we move on. The brand kit is going to allow you to do things such as change your themes, upload the logo for the tour, and really just customize these out. You can do everything from placing watermarks to making sure you have the right picture set up for the display when you go to post the link or go to embed the tour somewhere. And this is a really critical and important set that you're able to utilize in order to really make the tour your own and make it exactly what you need and want it to be. One thing that CloudPano is used for is for real estate, and one new feature that the team over at CloudPano has rolled out recently is the ability to generate a basically a floor plan like you would see in Matterport, and those are very cost effective for those who think they need to and must subscribe to the Matterport ecosystem in order to actually get a dollhouse that's incorrect. You're able to get them directly through CloudPano, and it's really fantastic. Even further still, you have lead generation capture forms, which you can turn on, which are fantastic in settings. This right here is what I personally consider one of the most important parts of CloudPano. This is where you're able to put in Google Analytics. From here, you can sell the reports from Google Analytics to your customer monthly. So what does that mean? That means passive income from the shoots that you have done. And this works extremely well. This will work well for schools. This will work well for auto dealerships. This will work well for a lot of different companies and a lot of different clients that you might be able to get. Of course, you're able to go through with CloudPano Live, which will allow you to show your tour live and really show it off. And then, of course, you can loop in multiple different people to build and to organize virtual tours together. This is just a really quick view of the construction aspects and the various assets that you can put into these tours. There are more features like background music and other customizations you can do, but this is a really top-down view. Next, we're going to go into the Google Street View aspect of it. You can actually launch and build a tour in Google Street View with your own account. You're able to put this in and basically install these for clients, for customers, to create the least amount of friction to getting these exact tours that you build to their own Google Street View. And that is a very critical and very important aspect, obviously, of putting these tours together. All right, we are currently in the Momentum 360 back catalog in our CloudPano Pro Plus account. Obviously, it's always good to keep things as neat as possible, but back here we have some really interesting tours that I want to dive right into. This is St. Anne's School. This is located here on the East Coast. This tour is strictly drone panoramic, as we've seen in the previous examples, and it's all just drone. This school, like many other tours that I'm showing you, pay hosting, and just the hosting from this particular tour alone covers just about everything, our all-in cost for our Pro Plus membership. So when I talk about other tours here in a little bit, I think it's important to keep that in mind, that this tour, which we shot last year, which we've been making the reports for, which we've been selling to them monthly, which we have a card on file for, over 21,000 views, approaching 22, is paid and has been paying for all of this. This is another really great one. For example, Cape Santa Maria. This has worked really well for this tropical resort, just helping them get more visibility, just to show off different areas. This is just a really great way to get sort of high-end exposure with high-end clients, dealing with high net worth individuals, coming through and just scaling. Yeah. And this is a loved tour. This has obviously worked really well for them on their homepage. Over 22,000 views, shot just over a year ago. So there are really impressive examples of what we can do. This is Cherry Street Pier. This is a combination here in Philadelphia. This is a combination tour between aerial panoramics, as you can see, and ground panoramics coming in. I mean, we were really able to just open this up and show the best that there is in this tour. This is actually a conversion from a Matterport tour. So all of this, as you can see with the shadow right here, all of this was shot with a Matterport Pro 2. And this is a really good example of taking a Matterport tour and making it better, being able to take the panos out and adding drone. That's what added a dynamic feature, and that alone enabled me to charge so much more for this tour, and was really a force multiplier for me that is really hard to ignore and really hard to turn down. This has been a massive contract for us. We are doing a whole marketing package for these guys. They've been an absolute pleasure to work with. This is another combination of drone panoramic images and interior images. This is another one that was shot interior. This one was actually shot with a Z1. Really great tour. And it's just worked really well for them. We've been able to upsell the reports. This has been extremely beneficial. This is a really great example of being able to embed different pieces of information and just how clean that looks and how that comes across to the viewer and how intuitive that is really something that's hard to oversell. It really is hard to oversell how easy these tours are to use, and more importantly, how for the user, for the customer, and then also how easy they are for the photographer, how easy they are for the salesperson to come in and to develop these tours. The last tour that I have here is Franklin Town High School, again here in Philadelphia. This was shot with, as you can see, drone, and of course my favorite, the Ricoh Theta Z1. This has just been a phenomenal tour that we've been able to embed here. Images, an example of the school mace. This is a Blue Ribbon accredited school, so they have that on display as well. It's just been really phenomenal for them in terms of selling reports, getting things out to them. They have a branded version of this tour. It really has been incredible to see what we've been able to reach out to other schools, to other institutions like this, and be able to fit a niche that works for them. In this case, it's just a matter of figuring out, okay, what are they charging for one student? Okay, they have 350 spots in this school. Could they deal with more enrollment? If yes, then you can kind of do the math from there and really figure out both aggressive pricing and something that leaves great satisfaction for the photographer. So this is a really great example of how you can scale using really minimal introduction into the industry, and really all you need is dedication and sales work, and you can really do what you need to do and open things up. And CloudPano is just insanely easy for anyone who has an inclination of being able to attempt to make virtual tours. CloudPano is without a doubt the premier way to go. All right, all, thank you so much for checking out my review. I really appreciate it. The conclusion, obviously, CloudPano is a fierce and powerful tool in any virtual tour toolbox and can be used for virtually any need that might present itself. We today talked about how you can make a virtual tour starting with just your cell phone, and even if you've already invested thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars needlessly in the Matterport system, how you don't have to live there anymore. There are a couple last points that I want to talk about CloudPano before we end out here today. Two really important things. The first being this book right here, Virtual Tour Profit. If you read this book, it's really not that long. It's written by Zach Calhoun. It's a fantastic book. This is really the meat and potatoes of how to start and run a profitable virtual tour business. Zach puts it all out here, and honestly, this has been a really, really valuable resource for me and my team on how to scale not only the CloudPano software, which it does obviously talk about in the book, but virtual tours as a whole. So for anyone who's in the virtual tour game, this is a must. And the second thing that I really want to drive home about CloudPano is the robust and ever-engaging community of users that's prevalent on Facebook. You can go and get really phenomenal insight and feedback on the tours that you make and ideas. Yes, CloudPano customer service is fast. However, it's very funny that you're able to usually find someone on Facebook who knows the answer if the owner himself has not answered directly. So in that case, in this instance, it's a very tight-knit community of people who respect each other and are pulling each other up. Again, my name's Jonathan McKnight. I'm the Director of Operations for Momentum 360. Thank you so much for checking out my review of CloudPano, which you can check out at cloudpano.com. Thanks a lot and have a wonderful day.